rainfall in the Rockies, malware warfare, and how Spambots are improving, unfortunately. This is MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by Kolide. Kolide ensures only secure devices can access your cloud apps. It's zero trust, tailor-made for Okta. Book a demo today at kolide.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. The MacVoices Live panel has some thoughts on the weather and water situation in the western United States, the battle between the good guys and the bad guys of malware, and how Spambots are getting better at fooling all of us. Let's go back and let the panel do the talking. Mark made a rough entrance there. Mark, thank you. It's great to see you. I'm glad you made it. It sounds like you've had some pretty rough weather there.
Another atmospheric weather is coming through, and there's winds, and we've had internet, through Charter has been up and down throughout the day, and just before this, internet came down, and then there was a PG&E power surge that took the router offline, and that that takes like 5 minutes for everything to boot up and reconnect appropriately. But we're protected because the surge came in and went out. Our Generac home backup generator didn't even activate. It was just purely PG&E. I think power fart is the technical term, or power burp.
Technical talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now
we know where the term brownout comes from.
There's a lot of stuff coming in, and since last weekend, we lost three oak trees. So there's a hell of a lot of rain and just oversaturated soil or mud or everything else. So I think our drought is over. Hopefully a lot of this goes through and deposits. And maybe Jeff could comment. Are you getting good snowpack out there? Because in California it really doesn't matter because it will melt early and it will just drain out to the bay. But if it's in Colorado, it can actually do some good and drain into and feed the Colorado River.
You would think that it would do some good, but the reality is there's we're in the middle of getting massive snow dump in the mountains, but it's at the wrong time, and we've been in drought for so long that most of that snow will evaporate off, and then the runoff that we get, it will be high, but it will probably turn into flood runoff, and the amount of water that everyone would like to see downstream out of this, it's not going to be as much as they would like, because most of that water is still going to end up being lost.
So where does flood runoff go? Doesn't that ultimately go to the Colorado River?
Well, you would think, but no, it ends up in out on the plains, because most of the Front Range plains are actually alluvial plains. So it floods outside of the rivers and goes out through the plains where it's too dry for it to soak into the ground, and then it evaporates. So you end up with property damage and no extra water out of it.
Also, Jeff lives on the other side of the Continental Divide, so that's all heading towards the Gulf of Mexico, not the Gulf of California.
That's true. Actually, most of the snow we're getting this week is on the east side of the Continental Divide, not the west side. But we have gotten a ton on the west side, and a lot of that's going to be lost also.
Is that on Steve Sandy's side? Probably not. He's probably not. He's around Denver, right? Highland Park.
Yeah, he's south of me, and so he's east of the Continental Divide, and about 45 minutes south of where I live.
Okay. The stuff on the west side's not going to wind up in the plains.
And
no,
this has been
the stuff on the west side will end up getting lost.
Welcome to Geology Today.
Geology Voices.
That's right. Yeah. This MacVoices segment is brought to you by the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
And now time for your local forecast.
Ryan Hall.
You're good at that. You're really good at that.
Sending them a bill with this. I'm going to throw the last one in, the last article of the evening. This botnet knows your name and quotes your email back with new tricks. This is a fairly in-depth article by Ars Technica. It's just sort of what we were talking about a minute ago with the spam calls and spam texts. And then I believe Jeff was the one that said, it's just this constant arms race. And you just look at this stuff and think, wow, if these people could turn their talents to something productive, you have to wonder what we could get done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody looked at this or not, but and I know it feels like all of my spam messages are getting smarter all the time.
True.
And it's getting harder and harder to differentiate.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know if you really want to reply to your mom or is it really your mom. It's getting scary.
If I get an email from my mom, I'm going to be very concerned.
Exactly.
He's been dead since 2001, so we're talking Rod Serling zone here.
So you really want to read it?
Yeah, yeah. But just before the show this evening, I got an invoice for some printing, and that with a message that please pass this on to accounting to have it get paid. And it's like, what is this?
Clear flag.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, I mean,
it's garbage links trying to get you to click and go through. I'll hit reply and just say F you and push it out.
What'd you say, David?
I'll need your bank account, and we'll have to get a refund for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, we talked last week about, the text, speaking of junk text, that I allegedly received one from my Amazon driver that couldn't find me. It's like, really? Come on.
Yeah.
Chuck, the new scam email that I got yesterday, and the day before looks totally legit at first. And it's from a law firm out of Canada that needs me to fill out a proxy form for a lawsuit about the property. And when the first one came in and I saw it, and I'm like, that's really weird, and I'm just not going to touch this email. And then the next day it showed up again, but the name was different, but everything else is the same. And I'm like, okay, yep, total scam. And then got it again today. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I know it's a scam. You don't need to keep sending it to me. I get it. Yeah, I know. Sure they do.
Hey, you know what?
Love you,
ninth time's the charm, Jeff.
Right? That's when I'll finally succumb and think, what have I got to lose? What could possibly go wrong?
Absolutely nothing.
Everything. everything. So this brings up a related point. I noticed about 7 or 10 days ago, I started getting spam messages that basically are from things like Rite Aid or CVS or Home Depot in the credit line. But again, it's sort of the typical spammer. They have a bunch of garbage characters and other things, and
misspellings, no English.
And I just deleted them, and then I got one, deleted it, and got one a couple days later, deleted it, got another one later that day. What's going on here? And I went and I looked and I realized they had an embedded image in it. So I figured, why the heck is this happening? So I went in and checked, and somewhere in a recent OS update, Apple, thank you for doing stuff I didn't want, changed the default for, they have a setting in Mail of, download remote embedded content like images and pictures and things. I always have that off. It's been off for the longest time. But somewhere in a recent OS upgrade, they switched the default from, to turn it back on again. So subsequently since that, I've been getting one of these things. It used to be every day, then it was every other day, and it's dropping off now. But again, just this is the thing of just rendering an image. That sends a signal to somebody somewhere that if they can correlate it with an email address or an IP, they can, they know that this thing is alive and well.
Webb?
I had a similar situation in corporate world. It was an email that was sent to my administrative assistant. We used to call them secretaries, but my administrative assistant. And it was one of these things that it purported that it came from me. It was me telling her to go ahead and authorize a major expenditure. And of course, don't tell anyone. It's top secret. Of course, we've been trained not to do that. But these things, it's kind of like what you were talking about, Chuck, in your example, but it's gotten very, very sophisticated. They got the names. They spelled, one of the normal spelling for web is web with 2 B's instead of 1. So they use the 2 B thing. So that was the first kickoff that my admin noticed. But these phishers are getting very, very sophisticated, and we corporately, we always have to be on our guard. Dealing with the situation right now, which is more of a DNS attack, but still, cybersecurity. I've said in my business, I've said to my employees, next to we're financial intermediaries, next to the interest rates and the interest economy that's going on, the cybersecurity and the cyber threats is probably our biggest risk factor that we deal with as a corporation. So, like I said, these bad guys are getting pretty smart. And they're just getting smarter. So,
Webb, it's funny that you mentioned that, because you reminded me that this afternoon I watched a webinar. I guess you call it a webinar. From the New York Stock Exchange, sponsored by one of the major P&C carriers. I'm not going to advertise for them here, but let's just say they were sponsoring it. And they had someone on from the government agency CISA. Along with some of the attorneys that specialized in ransomware and data extortion and all. It was really very interesting. But unfortunately, the CISA guy just came across as just living in a world that is not realistic. He's quoting the fact that you are legally not allowed to pay ransomware. I don't know if anybody knows that, but apparently that is illegal. Because in theory you could be funding terrorists, you could be funding a dozen different nefarious operations by paying ransomware. So it's illegal to pay ransomware. And while I don't disagree with that, it is a real issue. For someone on web like you or any of us that work in corporate IT at any level.
Yeah, I agree with the intent completely. I just don't think that's going to be reasonable. Not that I've had to experience this, but I've seen and heard all the stories we all have. That city of Baltimore was one that happened where they got shut down, and
City of Oakland too.
Yeah, and they did pay their ransomware to get their stuff back. And there are some experts in this field that make sure that when that does happen, you are paying the right people and they are unlocking your system. So there's a whole risk involved in that. But I think saying that it's just outright illegal to do, that's going to be kind of tough to enforce.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I agree with the intent.
Yeah. The intent, there's no question. But unfortunately, the attorneys then were coming back and saying, well, they've seen, and this is going based on what they're saying, but they've seen, companies come back and get charged with violating this, 2 or 3 years later. And it's like, wow, talk about double hit. Yeah. And Mark just pointed out, I said P&C, that's just part of my world. That's property and casualty insurance. Sorry.
So property casualty insurance.
Yes. Yeah. Ampersand.
Yeah.
Ampersand.
Question. I think, there's this company called Kolide, which is a sponsor of, I know Backbeat, they sponsor a number of shows, and sort of their recent spin on, human-powered endpoint protection I heard that for a couple of weeks, and then I finally heard, I think, Ken Ray on his Mac OS Ken explain, basically it checks to see if you're at a recent version, proper version. If not, it just stops you from giving you any access. So, gold star, to marketing of making this new term, human powered endpoint protection. But then on the other side, and Ken takes a number of shows just to point out that this is not a screw you tough love sort of thing. Maybe not, but it just basically says, gives you enough grace period that if you don't upgrade your device, you can't get access and get into our network. So I know there's all sorts of other things. There's a company Crowdsource that talks about source based threat protection and things. So this is certainly a very hot area, and I'm wondering, to the extent David or Webb or Guy, any of you could talk about what sort of companies and tool sets are being used in larger enterprises to protect against phishing and other attacks.
This edition of MacVoices is supported by Kolide at kolide.com/MacVoices. Our sponsor Kolide has some big news. If you're an Okta user, they can get your entire fleet to 100% compliance. How? If a device isn't compliant, the user can't log into your cloud apps until they fix the problem. It's that simple. Kolide patches one of the major holes in zero trust architecture, device compliance. Without Kolide, IT struggles to solve basic problems like keeping everyone's OS and browser up to date. Unsecure devices are logging into your company's apps because there's nothing there to stop them. Kolide is the only device trust solution that enforces compliance as part of authentication, and it's built to work seamlessly with Okta. The moment Kolide's agent detects a problem, it alerts the user and gives them instructions to fix it. If they don't fix the problem within a set time, they're blocked. Kolide's method means fewer support tickets, less frustration, and most importantly, 100% fleet compliance. Visit kolide.com/MacVoices to learn more or book a demo. That's Kolide, KOLIDE.com/MacVoices. Kolide.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Kolide for their support of MacVoices.
Well, a couple come to mind. Proofpoint, CrowdStrike. Those are just a couple to name a few that are used in the industry. Lucidum's another one. Yep.
Sorry.
Fake phishing emails.
Yep.
As a test.
Yeah.
Mimecast.
This whole space is an area that I've been writing about for companies for a while now. And it is absolutely insane what's going on behind the scenes to try and protect companies, protect assets, protect customer data. And you want to see what's really happening with AI? Go look at that space, because it is a computerized war, and I'm not using that term lightly, between the attackers and the companies that are creating these protective tools, where you basically have systems running AI and machine learning tools that are just battling each other, trying to get access into systems and to keep unauthorized access from happening. I mean, it is crazy what's going on in that space.
Yep.
Well, he just took us into a time machine, but I kind of get it. He says it reminds him of the radar detector wars.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice point.
Yeah. There's a callback. Kyle, are you seeing anything different than what we're seeing here? Or I know it's a global thing, but is it any different where you are?
No. I mean, it is a global thing, and it's getting more and more sophisticated. And with AI now being intertwined with it, it almost gets scary of what is real and what it isn't. That's what I'm worried about.
Mm-hmm.
It's we go back to of mom. Well, mom may sound a lot like mom one of these days, and and hopefully she's still alive, of course. If not, then they got you. But it's it. I don't know. I'm the whole AI with the bots and all that. That does make me think Terminator. To be honest with you, at the end of the day,
that's fair.
I'm investing in Skynet.
You'll win.
Help. Yeah, doesn't make me any happier there, Guy. Yeah, well, think about what we've seen Hollywood be able to do with actors that have unfortunately since passed, or that they've done the de-aging thing with some. There's so many of these things, and that's going to boil down to. For this show, I use an upscaler to make us all look a bit better. Now, do we end up looking like a little bit like 1960s Playboy airbrushed? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but it's a whole lot more pleasing to look at than having things look blocky and jagged and clearly down-resed. And I run that on my MacBook M1.
Well, I wish you would have. I wish you would have dropped a couple of pounds off me, Chuck. Damn it!
Yes.
I don't have that filter. I didn't pay for that when you had.
Yeah, I need some.
How
work.
much does it cost? We'll do like a Patreon or something, so you can get the diet filter for us.
Yes, audience. I'm not near this attractive in person.
I would have worn a tie. So.
The Ponce de Leon filter. Yes, that's what we need.
But you got to wonder what is real and what isn't anymore. And we are getting to that. I mean, even I think of the guy that was doing the act, Tom Cruise. I think that was TikTok at that time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And fooled I was fooled even to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it is, and particularly now, if you get on with, we've got wars going on, and you got AI now involved with the banking sector. We've had some scares the last couple of weeks in the banking area and stuff. AI is cool, no doubt about it, in the right hands. I just worry about it in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but God, Kyle, it's just like encryption. It's either everybody or nobody. Unfortunately,
unfortunately, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so it's going to get into the wrong hands. We've seen some unfortunate deep fakes, coming out through the pornography channels.
True.
And and you just, you look at some of this stuff, and it's like, this is really good. This, it's not so good that you can't figure it out most of the time if you look hard at it and really think about it. But as the Tom Cruise thing is a perfect example. Quick casual look, yeah, that's Tom.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Let me put it this way: when LucasArts, Lucasfilm, excuse me, hires the people that are doing these deep fakes over their own multi-million-dollar effects company, the technology is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And going to get better.
And going to get it. Well, yeah, especially just look in the last year of what this has done. It's incredible. I'm not even here right now. It's not even me.
Yeah.
I'm still asleep.
So we're going to have an avatar show up here on a regular basis?
That's right. None of us will have to show up one of these days, Chuck. It'll just be you. Sorry. You just have to come there, push the button, and we'll all be doing our own thing.
For all the audience knows, that's literally what's happening right now.
Yes.
Now.
But we'll all be paid the usual appearance fee of $0.00.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
I want that in Bitcoin, by the way. Bitcoin, please. Thank you. The dollar is failing.
All of you are all ChatGPT avatars. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, all of us. All of us, Chuck. See, we got you. We got you.
Guys, this has been a lot of fun. It's been a little disturbing in places, but it's been a lot of fun. I'm not going to say which places. I'm just going to say, Let's go around the table, let everyone know where they can find you when you're not here, or maybe not here. Yeah. I don't even know what that means anymore. And I'm gonna take my screen in order as it is. David Ginsburg has moved into the seat of the angels. David, good to see you as always. Where can folks find you?
Good to see you as well, Chuck. Thanks for having me. You can find me at InTouchWithIOS at InTouchWithIOS.com. YouTube channel is YouTube.com/InTouchWithIOS. I'm here on Tuesday nights. I'm also on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network on Fridays with Jeff and Chuck. And you can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65 on Mastodon.cloud. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, David. Kyle Swagger, thank you so much for getting up and joining us. You're welcome anytime you want to roll out of bed. Just keep the pants level right where it is.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. I feel comfortable at this level too. So.
Good. He's all de-resed from the waist down anyway.
That's right.
Aren't we all? I mean, you reach a certain age and it's like, oh, I'm de-resed.
It all makes me think of that Tom Petty song, Free Fallin'. You're damn right.
This is why I love you, Kyle.
This is going downhill fast.
Yep.
Kyle, I know where we can find you, but what's the best place for everyone else to find you and hear and read and everything what you do?
The easiest place to find me is 5 days a week on the British Tech Network, BritishTechNetwork.com. I do the news show, Best in Tech in 5 minutes past 24 hours, and try to make it as consumable and as lighthearted as possible to start your day. And other than that, you can find me on Twitter at Kyle Swagger, Swagger 1G only.
Great. Kyle, you're always welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. It was great to be here. Thank you for inviting me on. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the one thing this group does is they have a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
There he is, the man with the shades.
Stevie Wonder?
Elwood Blues.
No, my God, please don't. We don't want to ask him to sing. You
really don't want to ask me to sing.
Now I kind of do.
No. After dark.
You can find me, Guy, at mymac.com. I do the mymac.com podcast since 2009 over there at mymac.com with Gary Gazmaz Malpaz. As well as, though I haven't done too many of them lately, Guy's Daily Drive, where I record myself as I drive to work. Because, that's a thing. You can reach me on Twitter. I am MacParrot and VertShark over there. I am MacParrot on Mastodon. I am MacParrot on Counter Social. And that's pretty much all of it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Guy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Ray is exclusive to MacVoices Live, as he pointed out in last week's show. Jim, it's great to have you. Can you bless us on the way out with where we can find you?
Yes, you can find me at provue.com, BROVUE.com. If you need a database, that's the place to go. Or you can find me on Mastodon at ProVueJim, same PROVUE, at techhub.social.
Great. Thanks so much, Jim. Good to see you. Jeff Gamet, thank you for being here and educating us as to the runoff from the Rocky Mountains. Where can folks find you?
Chuck, it's always a treat to get to be here with you. So thank you for once again clicking the admit button so that I could be part of the chat. All right. So when I'm not chatting with Kyle about where our lost pants have gone, or confessing Guy's sins to Father Jim, you can find
so many sins.
So many. I had to buy a Zoom account just to have enough time.
Understood.
Yeah. Anyhow, so on the socials, I'm Jay Gamet. The ones that I'm active on right now are Instagram and Mastodon. And And let's see, shows. So most Tuesdays here because Chuck keeps letting me on, and then on Thursdays on the big show on British Tech Network. And Dave doesn't learn either, and he keeps letting me on In Touch with iOS, so that's Thursday evenings. Then Fridays back to British Tech Network for the Mac show. Also, Brian Chaffin and I do the Context Machine, and this last week's episode was a total sci-fi nerd out, which I actually love doing because most people are not expecting my deep Star Trek and Star Wars knowledge when I come on a show. So
It's really deep.
It's deep. It's fun
It's
when
deep.
I get to do that.
Thank you, Jeff. Good to see you. Eric Bolden, thank you so much for being here. All I can say is I'm really sorry.
I'm demonstrating my avatar's hydrate plugin.
Oh, Eric,
Okay.
you're the best.
Yeah, you forget the apology. You fit right in, Eric.
Does that have Matter on board? Does that have Matter? We just
Yeah,
need
it
to know.
doesn't matter. No.
Oh, okay.
So it's the older one.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
Maybe a future upgrade. Who knows?
Hmm.
So, yeah, you can find me at EA Bolden at techhub.social. And yeah, just to keep it simple. It's the one.
great. Thanks so much, Eric. Great to have you. Ben Roethig, thank you so much for being here and adding to the insanity. Where can folks find you?
Well, Chuck, you can find me at my permanently interim website, roethigtech.blogspot.com. You can find me on the interwebs on your social media choice at Ben Roethig. You can find me as a now permanent contributor to Dave Ginsburg's In Touch with iOS after I paid him off. And you can also find me at both the Big Show and the Mac Show on the British Tech Network.
Great. Thank you, Ben. Good to have you. Mark Puccio, I'm glad that the atmospheric river abated just enough for you to at least get in and say hello and contribute a little. Thank you for being here. Where can folks find you?
Well, it's still not over. I mean, that rain stuff is still falling from the sky, and there's still winds, so we're not out of it yet. But easiest way to find me, of course, is Twitter at Mark Fuccio, MarkFuccio, or use the same name on LinkedIn. But there you go.
You
Great.
can find him
Thank you, Mark.
downstream.
Let's hope not.
Nice.
Hope not. Last but absolutely not least, Mr. Webb Bixby. Webb, thank you so much for the suit and tie and for all the wisdom. Where can folks connect with you?
Thank you, Chuck. I always very much enjoy being part of this for not being one of the guys in the tech community, just a user. But you can find me, easiest way is on Mastodon at webbixby at twit.social. Thank you, Chuck.
Great. Thank you, Webb. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices Live. We do this Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are, on youtube.com, youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. We'd love to have you join us in the chat room. And I definitely want to thank everyone in the chat room tonight. They were throwing some great questions and comments in there. We didn't always get to all of them with this larger panel, but it's always appreciated. Until the next time, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.